All right, in this video, I will present another pie chart from IELTS Academic 14 and walk you through these steps to write a good answer for it. As usual, we need to understand the statement and the instruction. The charts below show the average percentages in typical meals of 3 types of nutrients, all of which may be unhealthy if eaten too much. So it's about the average percentages of 3 types of nutrients. You know that the instruction is always the same. In writing task 1, we need to summarize the information and make comparisons where relevant. In doing so, you need to aim for 150 words to be able to cover all the main points. Now it's time to understand the data. Here we've got 3 pie charts. The first one shows sodium, the second one saturated fat, and the last one added sugar. And we have those typical meals in that box: breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks. So we start with sodium, and we start from the highest to the lowest. In this one, we start with dinner, 43%. Then the second one, lunch, 29%. And we can group breakfast and snacks. They're the same, 14%. So for saturated fat, I will start again with the highest, 37% dinner, then 26% lunch, then 21% snacks, and the lowest, breakfast, 16%. And the last one, added sugar, I will start again with the highest, 42% snacks, then dinner, and after that, lunch and breakfast. So this is the order that I'm going to mention or present the data in my writing. I need to decide about the overview. As you know, it's a must. You have to write an overview. Otherwise, you cannot score higher than band 4 or 5 in terms of task achievement. So it's very important to choose the most important parts from the charts and mention them in the overview. And make sure you don't write any numbers in your overview. So as you know, for the overview, we usually mention the highest and the lowest percentages, or the most important or prominent points. Let's look at the lowest percentages. In this case, we have breakfast, 14% in sodium, 16% in saturated fat, and 16% in added sugar. So this is something I will include in my overview. And the opposite, the highest. In this case, we have dinner, right? 43%, 37%, and also 23%. These two will be in my overview. Also, I can mention snacks because it has the lowest percentage in sodium and the highest percentage in added sugar. This is something that I will also mention in my overview, but it's your choice what you're going to use and what you're going to mention in your overview. Now it's time to write. The first thing to write, as usual, is the paraphrase. This is my paraphrase. The pie charts depict the average percentages of 3 nutrients in typical meals consumed in the USA. First, I deleted below, as usual, because there is nothing below my writing. Instead of show, I used depict. And in the rest of that, I didn't change that much. The average percentages, I kept that. I just changed the order. Instead of in typical meals, I used of 3 nutrients in typical meals. And I also used the verb consumed, and I got the USA from the chart. I did not paraphrase the last part, all of which may be unhealthy. It's not that much important, so I left it out. I will mention the word healthy and unhealthy in my writing. Now let's write the overview. Remember I said I will mention breakfast, dinner, and also snacks. Overall, breakfast contains the lowest percentages across the nutrients, while dinner consistently contains the highest. Now, snacks. Snacks also stand out for their relatively high percentages despite having the lowest sodium content. That's my overview. Now, let's begin with sodium in that order, right? 1, dinner, then lunch, and then I'll group those 2 parts. Sodium intake is most prominent during dinner, constituting 43% of the average meal. Now lunch. Lunch follows, contributing 29% of the total, whereas breakfast and snacks each account for a smaller percentage of 14%. I will also mention breakfast as the lowest sodium content. Notably, breakfast contains the lowest sodium content. Now let's get to saturated fat in that order. The distribution of saturated fat consumption mirrors that of sodium because it's very similar to that, right? Dinner leads, making up 37% of the total. Now lunch and the rest of that. Lunch proceeds with 26%, and breakfast and snacks account for smaller percentages with 16 and 21 respectively. This part is very similar to, let's say, sodium. I will mention breakfast as well. As with sodium, breakfast is the healthiest meal regarding saturated fats. Now, the last part, sugar. Added sugar intake shows a unique pattern. Number one, snacks exhibit the highest percentage, constituting a substantial 42%. For this part, I changed the order. I will mention breakfast and lunch and then dinner because I want to compare dinner across the charts as well. Breakfast comprises the lowest amount at 16%, while lunch has a higher percentage compared to breakfast at 19%. Now dinner has a moderate percentage of all meals with 23%. Again, I made comparison across the charts. So I wrote 176 words for this essay and I organized it in 4 paragraphs. In the first one, I paraphrased the statement and wrote the overview. In my first body paragraph, I described the first chart. In the second one, I described the second chart. And in the last one, I described added sugar, the last chart. So I dedicated 1 paragraph to each chart. In this slide, you can find the words and phrases that I used to describe the data. And in the next one, you will find the connectors. All right, I hope you found it useful. Have a nice day.